The Dershow.
So the real question and the subject of today's discussion is timing. There are three possibilities. One, unlikely, that he could be tried and convicted, because as soon as he's tried, he's convicted, that he could be tried before the election. Don't think that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen because I don't think the prosecutor really wants that to happen. And I think people think that might even help Donald Trump win the election if he's perceived as somebody who's being piled on this way. Maybe already the indictment is going to help the election. I don't know. That's one possibility. The second possibility is he's tried between the election and the inauguration. That's 2 months. And there is time to try him then. And let's assume he's convicted. Well, he can't pardon himself before he becomes president. Becomes president January 20th, so he has to wait for that. And he could be a convicted felon for at least a number of days before he assumes the presidency. The third is it happens after the inauguration. And again, on the assumption, not saying this is going to happen, but hypothetically on the assumption that Trump is elected president, he could probably pardon himself. It's not clear. There's nothing in the congressional, in the constitutional debates, I've read them, about whether you can pardon yourself. There's an argument suggesting that nobody should be able to act in their own self-interest, but that happens all the time. People often ask me who manages my social media reels, and it's a company called View, V-I-E-W, Movement. View Movement. They've done great work for me. I have to tell you, they've really been terrific, and they've boosted my viewership. So if you're looking to boost your own social media presence with short form videos, use the code Dershow, capital, all caps, DERSHOW, to save 15% on your service with them. And if you want to see more about this, you can see it in the link in the description below. But even if he can't pardon himself, we know he can fire the special prosecutor, and that would impose a heavy political cost, but he can do that. And he can order his attorney general to dismiss the charges. Now, once there's a conviction, you need the permission of the court. So that would create a very interesting constitutional issue if the court refused to give permission and the president ordered that the prosecution be terminated. So we don't know what the answer to these constitutional questions are. Most likely, there will be a trial only after there's an inauguration, probably after January 20th. And of course, then it all depends on who the president is. And I don't think we're going to see a trial that occurs before the election. The same thing is true with the Florida case. Florida case, I think there's a much more substantial chance that it might be reversed on appeal. The decision by the trial court that Jack Smith was improperly appointed, that could go either way. I've read the decision. It's a very sound, thoughtful decision. The scholars, the so-called scholars, the academics who say there's nothing to her reasoning, no, that's not so. Justice Scalia would have supported it. There are several justices on the Supreme Court who would and will support it. And there are scholars who will and should support it. It's not an easy question. And it's an easy political question for those who want to see Jack Smith go after Donald Trump, but it's a hard academic and constitutional question. So, but that appeal, the Jack Smith has appealed that case, and it will be heard and decided, but it won't be heard and decided in time for there to be a trial before the election. The same thing is true, of course, with the ridiculous self-destructing case in Fulton County, Georgia, where the wrong person is in the dock. The prosecutor should be indicted, prosecuted, and imprisoned for deliberately and willfully committing perjury. We all saw it. Does anybody really have any doubt that her testimony about when she started to have an affair with this guy who she then appointed, I don't know anybody who has any doubt about that not being true. And if it's not true, it's perjury. It's a material fact being testified to in front of a court of law. So she should be the one who's being prosecuted and tried. And that case is also now on appeal, and she'll lose that appeal and she will be disqualified. And if that case ever comes to trial, which I doubt, it will come to trial not only after the next president is inaugurated, but probably years later. It's on a track to hell. So I think these indictments may influence the election.